I think we're going to start. With the agreement of the ranking member and with the understanding that other members are on the way, we're going to start our markup. And the Committee on Science, Space, and Technology will come to order. Without objection, the chair is authorized to declare recesses of the committee at any time. Pursuant to Committee Rule 2E and House Rule 11-2H4, the chair announces that he may postpone roll call votes.
Mr. Webster.
I know, but in 10 minutes I expect him to be here. Today we meet to consider H.R. 2105, the NIST Small Business Cybersecurity Act of 2017. Pursuant to notice, I now call up H.R. 2105, the NIST Small Business Cybersecurity Act of 2017. The clerk will report the bill.
H.R. 2105, a bill to require the Director of the National Institute of Standards and Technology to disseminate guidance to help reduce.
Without objection, the bill is considered as read and open for amendment at any point, and I'll recognize myself for an opening statement. Welcome to today's full committee markup of H.R. 2105, the NIST Small Business Cybersecurity Act of 2017. And I thank the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Webster, for introducing this important and timely bipartisan bill. This bill directs the National Institute of Standards and Technology to provide small businesses with cybersecurity guidelines, tools, best practices, standards, and methodologies necessary to better protect themselves. This guidance will be made publicly available on NIST and other relevant agencies' websites. Small businesses are frequently the target of cyber attacks, but these businesses often do not have sufficient information to adequately monitor and protect their computer systems. This week, we celebrate National Small Business Week, a decades-long tradition recognizing the many contributions made to the American economy by small businesses. Small businesses help produce a thriving economy that benefits our entire country. They bring innovative ideas, cutting-edge products and services, and jobs to the marketplace. In my home state, for example, there are more than 2.4 million small businesses that employ almost 4.5 million Texans. But even as they become more innovative, sophisticated, and productive, small businesses are drawing unwanted attention from cyber criminals. These hackers attempt to take advantage of the small businesses' limited capabilities and cyber inexperience as compared to their larger counterparts. According to the U.S. National Cybersecurity Alliance, 60% of small businesses go bankrupt 6 months after a cyber attack. And another institute notes that recovering from a cyber attack can cost the average small business $690,000. For middle market companies, that cost is more than $1 million. Today's legislation engages the services of NIST to help small businesses reduce their cybersecurity risk. NIST experts developed a cybersecurity framework through collaborations between the government and private sector. This framework is accepted and used by many private organizations to address and manage their cybersecurity risk in a cost-effective way. The guidance described in this bill to help small businesses is based on the NIST cybersecurity framework. H.R. 2105 is similar to Senate Bill S-770, the Main Street Cybersecurity Act, which the Senate Commerce, Science, and Transportation Committee favorably reported unanimously by voice vote last month. Representative Webster's bill, co-sponsored by Research and Technology Subcommittee Chairwoman Barbara Comstock and Ranking Member Dan Lipinski, serves an important purpose by helping to protect small businesses from cybersecurity attacks. I thank them for their initiative on this issue and urge my colleagues to support H.R. 2105. The Ranking Member, the gentlewoman from Texas, Eddie Bernice Johnson, is recognized for her opening statement.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. H.R. 2105, the NIST Small Business Cybersecurity Act of 2017, addresses a significant need to provide more guidance, resources, and tools to small businesses to secure their information systems and protect the personal information of their customers. According to the Small Business Administration, the 28 million small businesses in America account for 54% of the U.S. sales. Small businesses provide 55% of all jobs and 66% of all net new jobs since 1970. Small businesses play a central role in our economy. Unfortunately, the information systems and networks of small businesses are especially vulnerable. Small businesses rarely have trained cybersecurity employees, and often do not prioritize cybersecurity or have the resources to do so. The National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST, has been a leader in developing standards and guidelines for cybersecurity in the public and private sectors before the word cybersecurity was even part of the policy vocabulary. In 2009, NIST developed a guidance document called Small Business Information Security, the Fundamentals. The document was a result of an intra-agency effort and was designed to present the fundamentals of an effective small business information security program in non-technical language. In 2014, in response to an executive order from President Obama, NIST published the Cybersecurity Framework for Critical Infrastructure, which we have discussed extensively in this committee. The Cybersecurity Framework is most useful for larger businesses with at least some information technology expertise. Therefore, in November 2016, NIST published an update of their small business guidance document using the framework as a template. In addition to this guidance, NIST assists small businesses directly through their work at the Cybersecurity Center for Excellence in Gaithersburg, Maryland. Further, under the National Initiative for Cybersecurity Education, NIST leads an activity they call the Small Business Corner. In collaboration with the Small Business Administration and the FBI, they conduct training meetings on computer security for small businesses. H.R. 2105 is consistent with all those ongoing activities at NIST and with the agency's mission. Ideally, H.R. 2105 would also provide resources for NIST to expand these activities because the need is clear. Unfortunately, the majority has once again brought up a bill directing the agency to do more with less. If this just happened occasionally, it would not be a problem. Every agency should periodically assess their programs and identify opportunities to prioritize funding and implement new efficiencies. However, with respect to NIST in particular, the majority has piled on one significant new responsibility after another without providing additional funding. And now, based upon fiscal year 2018 budget blueprint, we anticipate damaging cuts to NIST from the Trump administration. I am pleased that we can agree on a bipartisan basis that NIST is an important agency that does excellent work across many areas with a relatively small budget. I just wish we could also agree that money does not grow on the trees at NIST campus. We must be prepared to pay for what we value, or we will simply not accomplish the laudable goals of this legislation or any other activities we deem to be priorities. Mr. Chairman, I support H.R. 2105, and I thank the sponsors, including Mr. Webster, Mr. Lipinski, and Ms. Rosen, and their strong support for small businesses and NIST's important role in cybersecurity. However, I'm concerned that the House bill contains an explicit underfunded mandate clause, and that the Senate version is silent on funding. I hope that if we have the opportunity to negotiate a conference agreement, both bodies will see fit to provide NIST with adequate resources to fulfill the mandates in this legislation. I thank you and yield back.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. And the sponsor of the bill, the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Webster, is recognized for a statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you for scheduling this markup, especially timely since this is National Small Business Week. American small businesses are the backbone of our economy, accounting for 54% of the American sales and 55% of American jobs. Unfortunately, small businesses are especially vulnerable, and some reports note that it's 43% of cybersecurity attacks specifically target them. H.R. 2105, the National Institute of Standards and Technology Small Business Cybersecurity Act of 2017 will help small businesses better address their cybersecurity risk to help them survive and thrive in face of such adversary. As the owner of a multi-generational, three-generational air conditioning and heating business, I understand firsthand the importance of equipping and empowering small businesses to tackle these challenges. Just a few months ago, one of my associates came into our office, and on the screen it says, "Your computer has been hacked, your data is frozen, and pay us a certain amount of money, a pretty good bit of money, by 24 hours, or we're going to destroy it." So that was a little bit of a concern, but I wasn't going to pay a ransom, so I told our people, just let's see what we can do. So we had a 2-day-old jump drive where we had backed up by chance all of the data that had been frozen. So our IT guy wiped the hard disk. We put the new data on, and then we re-upped it. It took us, we had to put the last 2 days of business on there, and it worked out. However, I think with the information that we could get from NIST and this bill, if it were in place, we would have been better prepared to know what to do and how to do it so that the incident never happened to begin with. So, and I know there are thousands and thousands of businesses across the country who are seeing that every day when they walk into their office. They have a ransom note. And many, I ended up talking to one person who had paid that ransom, and they were sad they did, because they released their data, everything was fine, and 3 months later they did it again. So this is a thriving, awful business that's being used to that's perpetrated some pretty bad things against small businesses who are just trying to make a living. So this bill, H.R. 2105, will provide small businesses in my district and across the state and across the country with the tools they need to actually circumvent these threats and challenges of the modern world. And I think a lot of times myself and my sons who run our business now tend to think, you know, this is only for big business. These are all the businesses that get highlighted on the news every night. That's the only ones that are at risk, and never really thought about the fact that we as a small business were at risk and knew nothing about these ransom notes that were being done. So there's a seminal bill in the Senate that's moving along, Main Street Cybersecurity Act. It's supported by Small Business Administration, National Restaurant Association, U.S. Chamber of Commerce, International Technique Group, and the Chamber of International Technique Groups that have also come out in support of this H.R. 2105 and Senate Bill Senate 770, which passed the Senate Commerce, Science, and Transportation Committee in April by a voice vote. I ask my colleagues to similarly support this H.R. 2105, a bipartisan manner, so that we may prepare it for the House floor action. Thank you again, Mr. Chairman, for bringing up this bill and supporting this important bill today to help small businesses. I yield back the rest of my time.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Webster, and also thank you for recounting your personal experience in regard to the subject at hand. The gentlewoman from Nevada, Ms. Rosen, is recognized for a statement.
Thank you, Chairman Smith and Ranking Member Johnson, for holding today's markup on the NIST Small Business Cybersecurity Act, a bill that I am very proud to co-sponsor. Last year, the majority of all targeted cyber attacks were directed at small businesses. What's even scarier is that 60% of small businesses successfully attacked, they actually go out of business within 6 months. Despite these facts, according to the National Cybersecurity Alliance survey, nearly 6 out of 10 small and medium-sized businesses do not have a contingency plan outlining their procedures for responding and reporting data breach losses. Many of these businesses do not have the resources to invest in a dedicated IT staff with the expertise to monitor and protect their computer systems. However, I believe with proper guidance on how to develop an information security program, small business can take the steps to protect their employees and their customers. That's why I'm a proud co-sponsor of NIST, Small Business Cybersecurity Act. This bill requires the Director of National Institute of Standards and Technology, known as NIST, to provide small businesses with resources to identify, protect their digital assets from cybersecurity threats. H.R. 2105 creates a simple, voluntary set of guidelines that are specifically tailored for use by small businesses. We all know small businesses are the backbone of our economy in Southern Nevada. Las Vegas and the surrounding communities are home to hundreds of local businesses employing actually over 400,000 workers in our state. Unfortunately, over the past several years, our casinos, our hotels, and many of our other small businesses have suffered from cyber attacks. This legislation that we're reviewing today would greatly benefit small and medium-sized businesses in my district, ensuring that they have the tools to protect themselves from cybersecurity threats. I thank you, and I urge my colleagues to vote for H.R. 2105.
Thank you, Ms. Rosen. We will now proceed with amendments in the order listed on the roster. The first and only amendment is offered by the gentleman from California, Mr. McNerney, and I want to thank him for co-sponsoring the bill, and the gentleman is recognized.
Well, I thank the chair. I thank Mr. Webster and Ms. Rosen. What I have an amendment that will perform a modest...
The clerk will report the amendment.
Oh, thank you.
Amendment to H.R. 2105, offered by Mr. McNerney of California, amendment number 042.
And without objection, the amendment is considered as read, and the gentleman is recognized to explain his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a simple amendment, and it will improve the bill. It requires that the resources that NIST provides to small businesses include case studies of practical applications of cyber protection and recovery. Small businesses are becoming a major target of cyber attacks, as we've heard. Small businesses are increasingly adopting information technology to store, process, and communicate information. Although the proliferation of technology has provided small businesses with many benefits, it has also increased the attack surface for these cyber attacks. Small businesses are generally very limited in resources and expertise. The owners of small businesses often are the only ones who handle cybersecurity-related matters, along with a wide range of other responsibilities that Mr. Webster can attest to. This is why it's critical that any information small businesses are provided with on how to better protect their companies against cyber attacks be easy to understand and apply, giving examples of how other businesses of similar size apply a particular cybersecurity guidance would be an important step toward achieving that goal. Small businesses are the engine of economic growth and job creation in our nation. In my district alone, there are over 31,000 small businesses. As Ms. Rosen mentioned, a recent study found that 60% of small businesses go out of business within 6 months of a cyber attack. This suggests that if we want to see improved economic growth, we must help small businesses improve their cybersecurity. As a co-sponsor of 2105, I'm glad to see that we are considering legislation aimed at improving cybersecurity resources for small businesses. However, if we truly want to help businesses better understand how to utilize resources, it's important that these resources include case studies of practical applications. My amendment addresses this, and I urge my colleagues to support it, and I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. McNerney. And the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Webster, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I believe this amendment offered by the gentleman from California, our colleague, is consistent with the desires of this bill, and I think it also would aid in protecting from cybersecurity attacks. And I support the amendment. I ask my colleagues to do the same.
Okay. I'll recognize myself simply to say I think this amendment improves an already good bill and appreciate the gentleman offering it. Is there any further discussion on the amendment? If not, the question is on agreeing to the amendment offered by Mr. McNerney. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to. If there are no further amendments, a reporting quorum being present, I move that the Committee on Science, Space, and Technology report H.R. 2105 to the House as amended with the recommendation that the bill be approved. The question is on favorably reporting H.R. 2105 to the House as amended. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the bill is ordered reported favorably. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid upon the table. H.R. 2105 is ordered reported to the House, and I ask unanimous consent that staff be authorized to make any necessary technical and conforming changes, and without objection, so ordered. If there's no further discussion, that completes our business of the day. Thank you all for being here, and we stand adjourned. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well done.